everyone, it's Tzayla, and welcome back to Off Key and On Pitch, your backstage pass to the unfiltered world of music. Today we have not one, but two incredibly talented guests joining us, Ava Rose and David Pippin. David is a 3-time Atlanta Blues Challenge winner and an Atlanta Institute of Music alumnus, and Eva is a powerhouse singer-songwriter with a soulful voice that blends seamlessly with David's blues-driven guitar work. Together, they perform originals and covers spanning rock, blues, Latin, jazz, and more. In this episode, we dive into their journey from how they first met and started playing together over 15 years ago to some of their most unforgettable performances, including playing for over 10,000 people at the Springing the Blues Festival. We also talk about the art of storytelling through music, the raw emotions behind songwriting, and the magic of live performances versus studio recordings. Plus, they share some incredible insights on pushing past stage fright, competing in music competitions, and the secret to staying together as a band for over a decade. I can't wait for you to hear the wisdom and stories these two have to share, so let's dive right into my conversation with the incredible acoustic duo, Ava Rose and David Pippin. Hey, Ava and David, welcome to the show today.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. You doing good too?
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad. So, David, we already have a whole episode where we talk about your story in music. But I'm curious, how about you? How'd you get started in music? What's your journey been like?
Honestly, both of my parents are professional musicians and actors. And so from a young age, I was singing and dancing and performing and stuff. So both of them have classical training in singing. And so I had no choice but to learn how to sing. And even in the backseat of my car with my Walkman on, if I was singing harmony to a song, if it was off, my mom would reach behind the seat and tap me and be like, try that again, a little higher. So, yeah, I feel like that's...
I can hear her saying that.
That's, yeah.
I'm positive
that
she
never
said that.
stopped, yeah. But, so they were big supporters of mine. And then I was classically trained in voice at Emory, with one of the instructors there, and then I went to school at West Georgia, and then ended up in a rock and roll band with this guy.
What year was that?
That was 2010.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you guys meet? How'd that come about?
I'm going to let you take that one.
We had a mutual friend named B Hall, and B Hall is a jazz musician, and at the time was the bass player for Mile Train, which was the band that David had back in the day. And so they introduced me to the band one night after I performed at a jazz night with them, because I was classically trained, so I did jazz music and stuff like that with B. And so went back, and the boys had just come back from a tour, a weekend tour. And so I think I was me and my friend were just hanging out and messing around with their instruments, and they were like, hey, who's this? And I ended up singing that night, I think, or I don't know.
Sure, that sounds
The
right.
rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yep.
Since
And then she went on the
2010.
road, and we started playing music and touring, and then she married the drummer.
Yeah. I had his kids.
Yeah.
The rest is history.
That's funny. I've actually seen you guys play once. You guys played at the Amp, I think two years ago, one summer.
We played last summer.
Was it last summer?
When we played last summer, we played.
I saw you play at one
Yeah.
consecutive.
Yeah.
Okay, I caught one of
Yeah,
them.
I think you got the year before.
Probably. I remember that night distinctly because I got a free T-shirt.
All right.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, so since 2010, so what? Going on 15 years?
That's right. That's the math.
Yeah.
That's that's insane. That's awesome. So any highlights over that time? Any show that you were like, oh, I'd love to travel back in time and play that venue again, or?
Yes.
Yeah, we played some really cool festivals. There was that festival in, what was it, right outside of Americus? There was that one.
Yeah.
We should go back and do
We
that one
didn't
again.
play that one.
We didn't play that one.
So-
We showed up to play it, but didn't get to play it.
Oh.
That's a story for another time.
Correct.
But yeah, no, we played the Spring and the Blues Festival a couple of times.
That's definitely the highlight. That's
yeah, that
probably
was
the
that
biggest
was,
crowd
yeah,
we've ever performed at.
Yeah, about 10,000 people. So our faces were on jumbotrons, and we played multiple stages, and
Wow.
yeah, it was cool.
I think it was 20,000 on the big stage, and then 10 on the small stage.
Yeah.
So we did we did 2 sets there.
Yeah, we sold a bunch of albums. We stayed in cool hotels. We got to meet some really amazing artists in the blues world. Yeah, that was neat.
Yeah. So how'd that come about? You guys just like networking with other bands and you get invited to play places?
Yeah, we played a lot down in Jacksonville, and I believe we were playing a lot there. And I don't know if you're familiar with who Derek Trucks, Tedeschi Trucks band is. They're a blues and R&B group, and we were playing at a place where Derek's parents were going and hanging out, and they were coming to see us play. And I think they may have recommended us, and then Susan and Derek had recommended us and the committee. And I got a call saying, hey, you guys, Derek and Susan have heard of you guys and want you guys to play the festival. So we did that, and then we did it again the next year. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's
Very
awesome. Cool. Aren't you guys also releasing a live album from one of your more recent performances?
We are. A studio and a live album.
Yep, we did.
We did.
I guess that was December.
It had to have been.
I think it was like December 2nd and like December 23rd.
Where can they listen to that? I guess on all the streaming platforms.
It's on all the streaming platforms.
You might also want to mention the name because no one mentioned that yet.
Well, it's 2 different names.
Is it David
Blackwater
and Ava?
Blues is one.
I think it's listed as David Pippin and Ava Rose.
It's not listed as Ava Rose and David
I
Pippin?
don't think so.
I thought it was Ava and David.
I didn't put
I was
it out
trying.
there.
I think in my head, we wanted to put like the star first.
Stop it. Stop it.
Featuring me.
How about this? I got my phone out. What's it called? let's fact check.
Call it out.
Yes.
All right, here, type it on in there.
Album's called.
Well, so you just gotta search.
But
Gotta have your
the
facts
album
right.
is called Blackwater Blues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a collection of original material that she and I have written, and our collaboration. And we competed in the Atlanta Blues Challenge, and played that set, and released it. And I think it's supposed to be out in some radio station. Wasn't it in the Canary Islands?
We've already been on the air. We've been circulating on some of the like satellite radio stations on XM, and then.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's been fun. And then we've got my favorite one was I got a notification that we were being played on an FM station out in the Canary Islands.
Wow.
Which was really cool.
I had to look that up.
The Canary Islands?
Yeah, I didn't know where that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Off the coast of Africa.
Yeah. I do now.
Yeah.
He knows now. That's all that matters.
That's right.
She found it, and you're both right. On the album, it says David Pippin and Ava Rose, and then on like the post, the actual like information, it says Ava Rose and David Pippin. So y'all were both right. It's not confusing. I feel if you Google
Spotify,
it, it'll come up.
It'll come up.
It doesn't matter what
Spotify
order.
Tags you. I don't know.
Fun.
I just
Spotify's
do the thing.
weird though. Like sometimes you want like a featured person doesn't even say featured. Sometimes it just drops down below.
Correct.
And it's weird. I don't know why it does that. But yeah, so the main themes of this is resilience and is it heartbreak? Hang on, I forgot exactly. Yeah,
Whatever.
Buffered. Yeah, heartache and resilience. That's like the main theme.
I believe that.
Yeah.
You believe that?
That sounds right.
Sounds about. That's what it says on your website.
It does.
It's like
a good combo.
Yeah.
good Like, what was the inspiration behind it? Like you said, it was a combination of a lot of stuff you guys had written. Is it like over the years, or did you guys sit down and go, "We're gonna write an album"?
No. Some of it was. Some of it we kind of sat down and collaborated on, and some of it was stuff that had been written over the years. Some of it was about my times living down in the swamp and marshes of Jacksonville, Florida. And some of it is about her experiences with, her life.
So he's the resilience part.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. There's a lot of I don't know, hidden jokes, I guess.
like what?
I think a lot of it is a place of empowerment as well.
Sure.
Hidden jokes. Yeah, certainly from my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easter eggs, if
Yeah.
you will.
Easter eggs.
I'm
How so? How
sassy.
so?
You're privy to the drama that is Ava Rose.
I'm just sassy. So I feel like if I'm gonna I don't know. I like to communicate, and so sometimes like it's a way for me to work through like big feelings that I have or like trauma, stuff like that. I like to write about it. That's not David's more of the storyteller and I'm more of the like processor, I think. And so like for me,
it's more therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to tell a story of something that happened and you're trying to get it out.
Yeah. And so sometimes that's me like directly speaking to that person and just kind of putting that out into the ether. And I'm sassy about it almost every time. So definitely put like some direct quotes in there sometimes or like references to certain things.
Right.
But yeah, they were also supposed to be like tongue in cheek. They're supposed to be kind of funny because that is sort of, there is a little bit of that element to blues anyway. Where
There's definitely humor for sure.
You want to have, it's almost dark humor, and that's sort of the point sometimes of the blues, and to kind of bring, like, sometimes that can be self-deprecating and sometimes that can be, you know, finger pointing, and mostly a lot of what I write tends to be a little morbid sometimes, just for fun.
It could just be murder.
Yeah, just straight up murder, but...
Yeah.
There you go.
There's a lot of murder in the blues. We even there was a guy even talked about that at a blues seminar last week that we went to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Analyzing why that is a thing that pops up.
And blues, why murder? Sure.
No.
It's just it's just like part of the genre. It really does. It just kind of pops up. It's just part of that. It's real stuff.
It's like love and pop. Inseparable. Actually, I think that's why one reason why you guys make such a great duo, because you are the processing songwriter and you're a storytelling songwriter. Together, those can make some of the best songs, in my opinion. Like a way to process that emotion in a way that everyone else can digest it and interpersonate? That's not a sentence. Interpret it and bring it to their own.
I like it.
English is hard.
We'll go with that.
I like that. Let's hope that's a good thing.
All words are made up.
I agree. But yeah, so any particular stories you feel comfortable sharing behind, like a track behind the song?
Trying to think.
Well, the title track Blackwater Blues is about when I was younger, in my early 20s, a lot younger, and made a trip back to Jacksonville, Florida. And some bandmates of mine went to to stay in this cabin that my stepmother at the time, my then stepmother, owned, and we spent the time on the lake, and we went and searched for alligators and found them. And there was an orange tree that was that was frozen and at one winter, and we tried to eat it, and it was super sour. And you can't eat sour oranges, after the sun has, or the winter has, frozen them. And it tells like just stories about that time. We got stuck in the middle of the lake on a broken down sea-doo and had to swim it back, and we got burned pretty badly doing that. So that song just is telling that
Which is
story.
like kind of a, I don't know.
It's comedic.
Maybe not the most exciting scene, but the way he wrote it, it's very poetic.
Yeah, I try to be poetic.
He's
about
like stranded out
in the middle of the
sea.
In the middle of the sea, because to me it was a giant lake, so it seemed like a sea.
They just like got lost on like their sea-doo,
Yeah,
like,
and so we
stuck.
had it, but it was a giant lake, and it was just one big circle, and it seemed like miles away from the shore, and it took us forever to kick that sea-doo back.
That sounds like a great story. I'm just like reminded of like Huckleberry Finn, and that whole even the Tom Sawyer books are all just stories just like that.
And then one of my friends that went with us, we jumped into a kayak and swam out and went to the kind of swampiest part of the lake to look for alligators. And I grew up in the swamp, so like I was used to it. It didn't really frighten me. And the kayak was, the top of it was this far from the water, and you could easily tip it over. And my buddy was a good old boy, and he was sitting there pretending like he was trying to call the gators. He was barking like, "Roo, roo, roo, roo," and patting the water. And sure enough, we heard a big splash coming out from the bank behind behind the weeds and the grass. And sure enough, here comes an alligator swimming, and then it turns and starts swimming right towards us, and he loses his mind. right? He's like, we gotta get out of here. And then that gator just goes under the water, still going towards us, and he just loses it. I know that gator wasn't going to do anything to us. So I was like, oh, I can't see it. So I stood up in the kayak and looked over, and I went, whoa, and he just lost his mind. He just lost his mind. I don't think he ever forgave me for that.
You're the worst. Yeah, I wouldn't.
And then we went back, and yeah, it was fun. We had a good time.
That's hysterical. If you're listening, the one lesson you'll take from the entire podcast, if you look for something, you'll find it.
That's right.
And you're welcome. That's a great story. I'm sure you have plenty more like those swamp stories. They sound great. So you guys perform live a lot. How do you approach like your live performances versus the studio recordings you guys do as well?
The live performances are a lot more fun because it's a one and done. Like you can kind of you can be less anxious about what you're about to perform. You don't have to be exact because it's lost in the ether. If you mess up, it's fine. It's gone. Nobody's going to remember it. Just do a decent enough job. And you can also take chances.
Yeah,
when
you can
you're playing
experiment.
live. Yeah, and like, hey, I'm going to try this. If it doesn't work, that's fine. And it usually works out okay. And you tend to actually play better with a lot more energy because you're not worried about recording is forever. And you concentrate on that. Oh, this is going to be forever. I'm going to have to listen to this for the rest of my life, and that tends to take something away from the music. So playing live is always more fun and more enjoyable. But the thing that you can do in a recording is you can be creative in ways that you can't live. You can add things that you couldn't add live. You can try things, and when you do try things, you might find something that you really like, and you can keep it and you can erase it, and there's just
perfect it.
You can perfect it, right? Yeah. So there's definitely different elements to each, and they're both fun. They're just both fun in a different way.
I think that was very well put. Is that why you guys decided to do a live album, to capture that whole kind of on-stage live performance energy?
Actually, yes.
Yes.
I think that was like the hope when we discovered that we actually did have a live recording of it.
Oh,
Yes.
it was an accident.
It was.
It was a surprise. Now,
Surprise.
we may have been briefed on it, and by we, I mean David. But maybe we forgot.
I didn't think anything about it. Well, they said I've done this competition several times, and they always said that they were going to have a recording, but I don't know that I ever got a recording. And I think this time we actually got the recording. So, yeah.
And that live performance that's on the EP was actually our second time performing all of those songs live. And we had only just performed them all like for the very first time 2 days before that.
Right. The album recording, the studio recording.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, we had performed at the open mic.
Right, but what
Yeah.
I'm saying is like when we finally got to the live recording, we had worked on it, and we kind of had our show down, and we felt again more comfortable. So there's a little bit more energy on the live album, but the recorded album might seem a little bit more crisp and polished. Maybe.
Yeah. We ended up, we did the studio recording after our performance that was captured, but we did that because we're like, let's capture what we've been working on. We've been working really hard on these songs, and that performance was really good. It was actually a recording of our competition, and so that was pretty cool. And we knew we sounded really good on that. And we were even like, oh, I wish we had that because we sounded so good. And then we got it. So we were like, oh, now we have to do both.
Yeah.
So.
And it sounds like that's, like you said, a good surprise, because I feel like if you went into it knowing it'd be recorded, it probably wouldn't have been as good as the happy accident.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, especially based on what you just said about the excitement you get when it comes to live performing.
Yeah.
And there was also an energy knowing that you're sitting there being judged and whatever. You get some sort of, and we were well practiced at the time, and you have that energy of this is a competition. This matters. It's a whole different energy than playing live and playing recording and then playing a competition. Like it's something that if you do play a lot, getting into those situations and dealing with a different type of anxiety on stage is something that I highly recommend, because it makes you a better player dealing with those different emotions, because it's a different feeling than when you're just playing live.
Yeah,
and
you're
when
under
just
duress.
In the studio. Yes, you're under duress. That's right.
Under duress.
That's
I
exactly
was super
right.
nervous. You can
Yeah.
tell.
Oh,
People
yeah,
that
we
know
were-
me know.
Yeah.
They can hear it in my voice
Yeah.
and my accent.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
mouth dries up a lot quicker.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely something to it.
But I would say performing in the wild, I think that I walk away from some of our gigs feeling like it's the best performance I've ever done.
Right.
And sometimes we're just playing to each other, just depending on the venue. You know, we may be background music sometimes and playing for each other. And sometimes that is when we are like the best riffs I've ever gotten off of a song, and like your solos like insane, or
because we're just playing music at that point.
Yeah, it's for us versus trying to do something or win something.
There's no agenda. The agenda is just to play music.
You're just playing music. So how do you guys get over those anxieties of competing versus live performances versus studio?
You do it multiple times. It's just repetition. Putting yourself in situations. I played with the Atlanta Choral Society where there was a conductor, and I had to learn these classical pieces. And I'm playing with the full choir and a classically trained pianist who is playing everything perfectly on the music, or on the sheet music. And I'm sitting here trying to read the music, and the director is like, look at me, and I'm like, do you want me to look at the music or do you want me to look at you? and he was like, both.
Right.
I was like, both of them, and so I'm sitting there trying to do both, listen to the music, watch the conductor, and also try to read the music all at the same time. And that is an anxiety. It's a whole different anxiety than competing, especially with a guy yelling at you, And I did that. I went back for more and did that multiple times, just because I knew that it would get me closer to feeling more relaxed in a situation like that. So I definitely recommend putting yourself, if you want to be a performer, putting yourself in situations, especially early on, that cause you a lot of anxiety, things that are going to stress you out. The worst thing that could happen is, they don't hire you back. I don't know.
I think that's true. Is like, and going off of what you said, the repetition. I think that if you're going into that situation, then you need to be like as well practiced as you possibly can be, and that's how you get over that anxiety.
Yeah.
Because you want it to be muscle memory, you want it to be second nature to you. Then you want it to be, if you're fighting anxiety in the moment and you might be blanking, your body already knows what to do, and you can kind of bring yourself back in.
Yeah, I mean that definitely battles the anxiety. It doesn't negate it. It doesn't
No.
It's not gone.
You
it's
just
going to
fall
help.
back on it.
Yes. I've probably played the wedding or the bridal chorus, da 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 da. But like I play a classical version of that. One wonderful thing that one of my mentors did at an early age when I went and played my first wedding, he said, David, don't mess this up. This is the most important day of her life. And
No
if you
pressure.
mess this up, you'll never get to play another wedding again. Everybody will know that you messed her wedding up. And now, even to this day, when I go to play the wedding march, nothing else, just the wedding march, my hands start shaking. So it's but I still deal with those anxieties even to this day. And I've played that song 1,000 times, but something about when you get into the situation and you're having to do it, and you see the bride, and you know that she's going to be mad if you mess this up. There's just all of that. So it's a lot easier to get on stage now and in those stressful situations, having dealt with those different highly anxiety-inducing moments.
There's also something I've read, and I've been using this method too, just on stage fright anxiety, where your brain confuses excitement with like nervousness. And so if you're feeling like you're nervous about something, you can kind of override that response by sort of out loud saying, if you're feeling anxious or you get that spike, if you basically tell yourself, I'm excited, I'm looking forward to this, I'm excited, I'm excited. And you just kind of tell yourself, this energy is just, it's packaged in this way, but I am excited about this. I'm pumped for this. You have to just kind of override your nervous system by just telling it that. And it does work. And I've shared that with another group I performed with earlier, this year, last year, on like a big stage, and so all of us like walk into the stage, we're like, I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're like, but it works. So
That's a good tip. It's like when they say when you're scared, you're supposed to smile, trick your brain. And I agree with you, like, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's when you grow and things will get easier. I heard this quote once, life doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. And so, yeah, those are some great tips. Those are great ones. I feel like I was cutting you off. You look like
No,
you're about
no,
to
you're
talk.
good.
Oh,
No, I'm
okay. So, yeah, so you guys compete a lot. How'd you guys start in competitions?
I started competing early on, just especially being a poor touring musician. We would do it for gear,
Yeah.
like I've won lots of gear, money. Just another way. It's one way for a venue to not have to pay a bunch of bands to play, and only pay one band a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. So
Smart.
sure. Yeah. It is smart. So they have, the venue will just pay the winner, and how they come up with the winner is a bunch. There are many different ways. You can then have a voting system, the judges, and the voting system, and so basically we were doing it to get gigs, because we would do it to. If you won this, you got to open up for headlining, a big act. And so we would travel 400 miles to go just do a competition, just so that we could open up for a big headliner, and doing competitions.
yeah, I've done like singing competitions for
Yeah.
cash. I've done some, and generally there's like studio time included in that as well. So if like you're starting out and you don't have access to that, it's a good way to kind of network too.
And you're also testing yourself more objectively by having somebody else
Judge you. Yeah.
Oh,
as
that
opposed to
feedback,
how you are feeling, and it's almost a kind of a validation of like, oh, you have been working hard enough, or at least hard enough for now, you're headed in the right direction. So, but yeah, done a lot. We've won a lot of stuff. We've won a lot of competitions.
Oh, yeah. Well, going back to the thing earlier, you guys have been together for 15 years, and I really find that impressive. Like, I know I was part of a band for a very, very short period of time because we quickly split up. And so how do you guys stay together as a band for so long? What's is like a secret you guys have?
Well,
Patience. I mean, on her part.
yeah. I mean, we've had it. It hasn't been straight us being in groups together. So we've been
playing for 15 years, but like as far as like we were on the road,
we've had some time off in between there with
Yeah.
individual projects.
Yeah.
I was in another touring band for a while. I had my own band for a while, but we would always play. I would always end up singing with him no matter what, like whatever he was doing. We would steal him occasionally against his will to sit in with us sometimes. And then I don't think we hadn't done anything acoustic. Had only ever done like big kind of loud
right?
stuff. And so this project was because David had been doing a lot of solo stuff for a while.
Years.
I mean, always, but
Yeah.
had been kind of mainly doing that for a while, and coming out of COVID, and
Was that?
it was, yeah, it would have been beforehand too, but
Yeah.
we decided to do this again.
Yeah, just playing by yourself. I've always enjoyed playing music with people. That was part of the romance of it, is like having your buddies on stage with you and playing music and interacting, and that's the fun part. And just playing solo shows, I was making more money, right, playing the solo shows, but I didn't have quite as much fun as I did when I was playing music with my friends. And that's one of the main reasons I enjoy playing in a band, because I'm playing with my friends.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's just by yourself for so many years, probably at least 5 or 6 years I was playing by myself.
And we've been like besties for like 15 years since we met.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like David kind of brought up the subject. And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to be stuck with you. But he was like, come on, we'll get paid to hang out. We hang out anyway, I think we were hanging out then.
Mm-hmm.
And that was sort of like why we started writing and singing and doing the acoustic version of this for the past few years, which is cool because I hadn't been doing that at all, acoustic stuff. So.
And it's easier to get an acoustic gig. You can still get acoustic gigs throughout the year. It's harder to have a full band. You have you have different schedules now that we're older. You have you get babysitters. You've got to it's harder to line things up. Back in the day, it was just us. We were just, oh, you want us to play in in North Florida tomorrow at 3 p.m. Oh, it's only 10 o'clock at night. Sure, we'll be there.
Go.
We'll jump in the car and head down there.
We were roommates for a short period of time too,
Yeah.
and so it was all.
Yeah.
Yeah, much easier back then.
We didn't have anything else. Not a care
easier.
in the world.
Yeah.
We just had to get rent paid.
Yeah. Any advice for any people wanting to start a band or start a duo or anything like that?
Practice.
Yeah, practice. Hone your craft. Get the beginnings and the ends down. Learn the songs. Get some songs done. I work with a lot of bands, and I teach a lot of bands how to play together. There's a couple of bands. There's a band going to show up here in about 25 minutes that we teach, and just teaching them get your catalogs of songs, and then write. Always be writing. If you want to be an artist, you have to write. You have to create, and sometimes you don't want to do that, and sometimes it's part of who you are. You have to. Oh, you know what? This week I'm going to write a song. Next week I'm going to write a song, or at least try. Yeah, always be writing.
Even if it sucks, and that's really how you tap into that flow.
Most of it's going to suck.
Yeah, but you have to get it out.
You have to, and it's an exercise. Finishing it is part of the exercise. I probably come up with 2 or 3 songs a week, and I try to get those songs done. And granted, there's songs about robot turkeys, you know what I'm saying, and pet rocks and things like that with kids who I'm helping write songs, and we're producing the songs and coming up with parts to the songs. But it's still like this morning, I was helping one of my students write a song about his first date, and going to the drive-in theater, and it turned out to be a really good song. I'm really excited about it, and tells a whole story. And that was this morning. So it's
Yeah, and stay humble. Stay humble and try it. There's always something else to learn. You can always get better.
Yeah. And you will write a ton of bad songs.
Yeah. I think you were the one who told me once you got to get all the bad ideas out first to make room for the good ones.
That's true.
It's honestly the more I've read and talked to other songwriters, read about songwriting, it's a universal thing that you have to tap into that flow of creativity, and tapping in sometimes means you get the duds, but if you're not pulling that out of the way, then you're not going to make room for
something
stuff that really might hit or resonate with somebody else, or you even more on a deeper level. So you have to keep pulling, and if you're having a writer's block, write about the writer's block. Just anything to keep it going.
Or write about a pet rock.
Or a pet rock.
Or a robot turkey.
Yeah, that apparently.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with a famous songwriter. I can't remember who it was, and he was like, he will finish a song even if he thinks it sucks, because he has found that even if he doesn't like it, someone else does, and the song does really well. And so he just keeps going at it, regardless, because people's tastes are different. You never know what someone's gonna like.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of songs like that have been written where I was like, I'm not going to put that on the album. And then somebody else said, no, that's definitely going on the album. And then that was the one hit off the album.
Right? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. There's plenty of stories like that.
Yeah. Any advice you have for people who want to start getting into competitions with their bands?
Just do it.
Work hard. Don't be lazy. That's really, when it comes down to it, just don't be lazy.
Yeah.
You may not become a big, rich rock star or a superstar or any of that, but you will accomplish something, and you will be able to do this if you hustle and you're just not lazy. Treat it like a job, and you might have to work harder than everybody else, but if you really love it, then it shouldn't matter.
And just do it so you get the feedback, and be open to that feedback.
Yes, always be open to feedback.
You were great about that, by the way. You really were. I think you took criticism better than most of my students. I'll say that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your advice.
And you became, and you have definitely benefited from that. As far as taking the criticism and working on what you've done. Your music sounds fantastic. You've done a wonderful job. Yeah, very proud of you.
Thank you. You guys have done great things in your 15 years together. I'm just curious, what do you guys want to accomplish now? Like, where are you headed towards?
More writing. That's kind of what we've been doing in different ways. We're technically recording right now.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we are also very much recording.
Yeah.
Very
like
much.
right now. Yeah, we're working on some other songs and recording with other people, and just kind of more
just
of the same.
making music.
We plan on.
Well, she wants to know
again.
we're going to be big rich rock stars and have our own jet airplane and fly around the country.
Yes.
Doesn't everyone want that?
Jet fuel?
Isn't that what we're doing?
Yeah.
That's our big dream.
Alrighty.
No, we have.
You heard it here.
No. I have a wife and kids, family, and a business, and really we love it. We do this because we love it.
Yeah, and that's great. I love that. How can people get in touch with you? Like, find your music, and come watch you guys' shows. Like, how can people connect with you guys?
So we're active on Facebook. If you go to, I think both of ours are like Ava Rose Music and David Pippin Music, respectively, on Facebook. And then I'll post on my, we have individual stuff. And then avarosemusic.com and davidpippinmusic.com. That stuff stays updated. We need to update our calendar on your website. But yeah, so on social media mainly.
YouTube.
Yeah, you post on YouTube a lot.
I post on. We've got stuff. We'll do live streams from here and then post them on YouTube and Facebook and other platforms.
I'm on TikTok as well.
I've got a bunch of just guitar stuff on TikTok. Just me sitting in my studio playing music.
Yep. But Ava Rose Music, David Pippin. I think I'm Ava Rose Red on TikTok and Instagram. But that's the best way.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Wow, what an incredible conversation with Ava Rose and David Pippin. There were so many great takeaways from this episode, but two things really stood out to me. The power of storytelling in music and the importance of perseverance in this industry. First, storytelling. David and Ava shared how their songwriting blends two powerful elements: David's ability to tell vivid, poetic stories and Ava's raw, emotional approach to processing life experiences. This combination is what makes their music resonate so deeply with people. In music, it's not just about melodies or an earworm that won't leave someone's head. It's about making people feel something. So ask yourself, are you telling your story through your art? Are you allowing yourself to be vulnerable in your creativity? Second is perseverance. Their journey has been 15 years in the making, filled with highs, lows, and plenty of lessons learned. They've competed in countless music competitions, played to massive crowds, and even landed radio plays overseas. And through it all, they emphasize that success in music, whether as a solo artist or in a band, is about staying consistent, pushing through doubts, and always honing your craft. So if you're in the early stages of your music career, ask yourself, are you putting in the time? Are you challenging yourself to step out of your comfort zone? Perseverance is what turns passion into success, and these two people are proof of that. I would love to hear from you. So what's one way you're going to push yourself creatively this week? Are you writing a new song, practicing your live set, or possibly even entering a competition? Feel free to DM me at Tzayla.official or even tag me. I would love to hear all about it. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow music nerds. You can follow David at David Pippin Music and Ava at Ava Rose Music on social media, and check out their latest album, Blackwater Blues, on all streaming platforms. You can also keep up with me at Tzayla.official, stream my music, check out more of my episodes, or even read my music blog, all of which can be found at Tzayla.com. But before we go, just remember, the moments that scare you the most often lead you to the biggest breakthroughs. So step into the unknown, tell your story boldly, and trust that every experience, good or bad, is shaping you into the artist you're meant to be. 3, 2, 1. Keep dreaming big, and I'll see you next time.
All right. Oh, I should have been looking at that.
You weren't.
I thought we were all going to look at it different ones, and you could cut it at different parts, and it would be
I think
more,
it's better
it would be
than
more
he looks at a
action
different
oriented.
one.
I think I'm going to leave that part in only because I think it's really funny.
Do
All
it.
right. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
One more
thank
time.
you.
Thank you.